All right, you guys ready? Yes. Well, welcome to 1 Million Cups. Do we have any new people? I don't think so. I didn't see any. Okay, so none of you are new, but you still can put your name in at the sign-in when you come in, and make sure you put who referred you so you can join the mug club. You need 3 referrals to get in the mug club, or people saying that you brought them, kind of deal. And that's pretty much it. We had the mugs up here, but they're really nice mugs. Oh, they're sitting on the back table. And then, like Vincent has a really nice one, but those are for attendance. So come up and do. Okay, so most of you know that 1 Million Cups is a weekly educational event for people with new ventures to present their business model to an open audience of entrepreneurs, business people, community leaders, and other independent professionals. So speakers get 6 minutes, followed by 15 minutes of question, and today we have 2 speakers, both talking about a similar event, but this is going to be a more traditional way of presenting, kind of like they do down in Kansas City. Let's see. Okay, we are sponsored today by Eco Solutions. They are a green, sustainable window cleaning company, so check them out. And the signs are sponsored by Technocraft. So, yeah, that's my company. Okay, so you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Use the hashtag 1MC. You can follow also the organizers, Brandon, me, and Tori, and we usually post a lot of really awesome things going on in Peoria as well, and other areas. Okay. So Keystart applications are open. Keystart's going to be in September. $5,000 on the line for that one. And if you're a 1 Million Cups alumni and you want to compete nationally at Kaufman Labs in Kansas City, there is $10,000 on the line for the winner, and then second place gets $5,000. So you have to have presented at 1 Million Cups here. Go online and put your application in there. So that's going to be really cool. You're going to be competing with people all over the U.S. So this morning we're going to start with Jen Gordon from ArtsPartners, and she's going to be talking about Ignite, which is happening on Saturday. And then the second speaker is Todd Crawford with River City Labs, talking about MakerFest, which is also happening at Ignite. So Jen's going to go first. And Ignite's really awesome, so if you're not going, make sure you check it out.
Okay. Thanks so much for the introduction, and thanks so much for having me here today at 1 Million Cups. It's really a privilege and a pleasure to be here. My name is Jen Gordon, and I'm the Executive Director with ArtsPartners of Central Illinois. Our mission is to emphasize the arts as part of the cultural fabric of Central Illinois, and to really dive into how the arts stimulate the economy in Central Illinois. We do this by empowering local arts organizations and engaging the community with art. So Ignite is just a perfect platform for ArtsPartners to support and take hold of. Ignite, I'm here representing a bunch of people that make Ignite happen. The Peoria Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Peoria Civic Center, the City of Peoria, and hundreds of local artists behind the scenes pull this event together. I'm going to show you a video in just a little bit so you can get just a little sneak peek as to what Ignite really is. It's hard to describe. It's been described as a celebration of creativity here in Central Illinois. This is our 2nd annual event that we're having. Last year was the first one, and I think we were anticipating about 1,000 people. We got 6,000. So everyone came out of the woodwork to attend. It was a really, really great event. And we're hoping to even surpass that this year. So let me just give you a quick little video on Ignite so you can get a taste of what it is.
It all began with an invitation from Jim Weatherington, and he said to the arts community, if you could create something new and exciting, we'll let you use the facility for free, but you must go big or go home. What I'm finding the biggest growth from is the diversity that I'm seeing. I am seeing young children to elderly people. I am seeing ethnicities across the board. I think people can't help but create. Sometimes people don't think they're artists, but they don't realize that when they're landscaping their yard, or they're wrapping those presents for under the Christmas tree, or maybe even setting a room, they're being artistic. It comes out, you can't help it, it's there.
doing a songwriting workshop, and it's been really interesting. It's been a real pleasure so far. You know, they say that if you do what you love and get paid for it, you'll never work a day in your life. Well, I don't really believe that. I believe that you will work a day, you'll work hard, but you won't mind it because you're doing what you want to do, and that's pretty much the position I'm in. I'm pretty much doing what I want to do, which is a blessing.
I was working at someone's house, rebuilding a basement staircase, and had to get rid of all the old paint as part of the service as contract. And started accumulating that, didn't know what to do, where to put it easily, etc. I thought, being an artist, I'm just going to make a sculpture.
It's an outlet for me, and it's a joy to be able to create something out of what God gives you.
And I'm just going to pause it there since we don't have too much time today, but you get a sense of what Ignite involves. Not only is this an artistic celebration, but it really goes beyond that. We're celebrating culture. We have World Ignites as part of Ignite, where we're bringing in lots of local cultural groups. There's going to be food and arts and crafts that really reflect the cultural diversity here in Peoria. We have Fashion Ignites, which is headed up by Tracy Fragoli. She's actually going to be creating a runway on the 4th floor of the Civic Center, and there's going to be a live fashion photo shoot where people can come in and see what goes into having a photo shoot. We have Theater Palooza that's going to be happening in the Great Hall lobby, where local theater groups are coming together and engaging with the public. And then we have Creation Stations, which you saw a few examples of here, where local artists have a platform to come in and engage with the community. And it's all centered around hands-on activities. So it's different from a regular art fair. You're coming in and you're going to be engaging with artists. It's entirely family friendly. This is a fantastic event to bring your kids to. When you look at the business model, the reason why Ignite Peoria works is we have the Civic Center that donates the space and makes it available to us, so we can make it available to artists. It's free for all participants. There's no registration fee or anything like that, and it's free to the public, which is just fantastic. When you have over 80 artists participating, they all want to promote the event. And that's why last year we ended up with this rousing success of over 6,000 people in attendance. So it's a very, very unique business model. It really depends upon having a thriving local arts scene and people that really want to engage with the arts, which Peoria is just ripe for right now. So we're hoping that this continues on for many, many, many years, and just really looking forward to seeing where it goes. One new thing that we have this year, which Todd is going to speak to later, is the Midwest Maker Fest with the River City Labs. And this just goes to show when you start off with one idea, it can only grow and get bigger and better. So there's going to be a dedicated space for Maker Fest this year, and this takes creativity to another level, and I'll let Todd talk about that. But really challenges what we consider, how we view creativity and how we use creativity in our day-to-day jobs and what we do. So yeah, it's a wonderful event. There's free parking even, you can't beat that. It's free 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Civic Center this Saturday. And we're just really looking forward to having you all there. I hope you all come down and enjoy the event. Are there any questions? Okay, behind? Yes.
So How do are the artists there selling their work there as well for people to purchase?
Great question. It's optional. So we let all of the artists know you're certainly welcome to sell your artwork. However, we strongly encourage there to be an engagement component. We want there to be a hands-on interaction component. In the creation stations, which is the portion that really features local artists, we have artists like Jacob Grant. He's a local potter, and he's going to be having people create little pinch pots that they can make for themselves. We have another painter who's actually going to be, doing sample little oil paintings where you can come in and work with the paint yourself and try that out. There's going to be, the library is going to be involved this year, which is really exciting, and they're going to have a storytelling corner where they can talk about storytelling. You saw from last year we had a singer-songwriter who had a singer-songwriter little workshop that he did to teach people how to do that as well. So the key of Ignite is engagement and really giving people an experience that they can walk away with. Yeah. Yes?
Why is it important to do that as opposed to just what we have here as a gallery?
Well,
what's the difference? Like, why are you going for that?
Sure, absolutely. Galleries are so important. And it gives you an opportunity to really sit in the artwork. Ignite is not a gallery setting. This is, if you want to talk about a point of entry for getting people engaged with art on all different levels who maybe have never experienced it before. So our hope is that Ignite attracts people that have never stepped into the Peoria Art Guild before. And that after they leave Ignite, they start to consider, oh, maybe I should go and see a gallery show. Maybe that's something that I can relate to as well. It's a little less intimidating, I think, when you have an opportunity not only to view art, but to also talk with the artist who's creating it and even have a chance to get your hands dirty, so to say, and start to manipulate the same types of materials that the artists are working with. Yes?
So it's free to get in, but do you have to pay for the hands-on?
Boy, that's a great question. I would say probably 95% of all of the activities within Ignite are free. Some of the artists, if they might charge $1 to $5 if you want to do a certain activity that has a lot of cost to them to produce. But in general, everything that you're going to experience there is free. So that's something that we really try and promote as well. There's not a cost involved. So, yeah. Yes?
Is the food generic, or is it also like, is there like a build your own hot dog station?
There's, we might have to consider that for next year. But no, there's no interactive, that's a great question. There's no interactive component with the food. We probably would need to take out more insurance to do that. But the great part with the food vendors, that taps into the World Ignites portion of the event. And so you're going to have all ethnic foods on display. And that's really exciting. It's going to add another component to the event that we're really excited about. Yes?
So is your target more of an adult population and purchasing artwork and appreciation, or is it more of a child focus to spur engagement as they develop?
Excellent question. I would say the target is across sector. We're looking to bring in a wide variety. The hope is to bring in, whether it's a child or someone who's 80 years old, the person who hasn't fully engaged with the arts in Central Illinois. The target is to bring in someone who might want to purchase a season ticket to a local theater organization leaving Ignite, but has never considered doing that before, because they just have never had a point of entry to experience a lot of art in one setting. So we're hoping to get children, we're hoping to get adults, and everyone in between. Another thing that's really interesting about Ignite, which you might have seen a little bit in the video, there's a car show that is also under the umbrella of Ignite, and this is the All or Nothing car show. And it's not just a car show. but it's really looking at detailed car artwork as a form of high art, and it's going to be incredible, the type of artwork that you see on these cars. That's going to be happening in the Civic Center arena all day long. So we hope that through that we tap into another sector of people that, again, maybe perhaps wouldn't have come into a gallery setting or wouldn't come into a theater, maybe not, but we're trying to just provide a lot of points of entry for the community to come together, that there's going to be something for everyone. You're not going to want to go home when you get there at 9 a.m. You're going to want to stay for the whole day and see the fashion show and see the car show and see the creation stations and interact with the artists. And we're hoping that people leave wanting to create art themselves and wanting to be involved with the arts here in Central Illinois and really developing an appreciation for what we have here in Central Illinois. Yes.
So you said the first year your goal was 1,000 and you got 6,000 people, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Could you speak a little bit about your marketing, what marketing you did to exceed your guest goal by 6 times?
That's a great question, and I think that's something, when you have so much success, you look back and you say, what did we do right? Let's do the exact same thing. And full disclosure, I was not here in town. I started my job here 4 months ago, so I didn't experience Ignite last year, so I'll have this secondhand. But they had a marketing strategy that involved radio, television, print ad, all of those basic things. But really, what we found elevated it was this idea of the participants marketing the event. Again, it's free participation for all of the artists participating. And if every single artist brings 10 people or 20 people, or they're putting out their own Facebook blasts and their own website posts and linking to the Ignite page, that really, you have all of these fingers in the community that are marketing the event and really elevating it in an amazing way. One thing that we do, we provide every participant with a marketing guideline. So we provide them with the tools to market the event themselves and to get it out there in the community. And it's just amazing how people are doing that work for us. We're doing it on a top level to try and get it out there in the community, but to have that word of mouth going out every day leading up to the event is amazing, and it's such a unique marketing approach. Yes?
This is kind of a side issue, but I can't help but be curious about the Civic Center letting you use the space for free.
Sure.
What's in it for them? Is it something where they're just kind of giving back to the community, or is there, because I'm always curious about people's incentives and that kind of stuff.
That's a
what's in it for them, I guess.
Great question. Jim Weatherington, when this idea first came up last year, his goal was to get people into the Civic Center in August. The summer is notorious for being a very quiet, dead time for the Civic Center. They don't get foot traffic, it kind of loses their momentum, they don't have a lot of programming. So the idea was, how can we take this part of our season that's really unused and give back to the community, and simultaneously get people into the Civic Center who maybe haven't been into the Civic Center before, and certainly maybe haven't seen the different parts of the Civic Center. So it's twofold for them, but again, it's just very generous, and one of those opportunities where it really does rely upon the generous partnership of some entity like the Civic Center. So we're very, very glad that they see it as both beneficial to them and an opportunity for them to give back to the community.
We're going to wrap up your session. Can you tell the group what they can do to help you with Ignite Peoria?
I would love to tell the group what they can do to help. First of all, I have flyers in the back that you can pick up. Please take one with you as you go. Put it up in your office, put it up in your favorite coffee shop. Again, we're just trying to get the word out here as far-reaching as possible. You can come, help us surpass that $6,000 or 6,000 person mark that we hit last year. Again, it's not going to cost you a dime. Come and support the arts in Central Illinois. And you can also volunteer. We have volunteer spots still available. You can be a greeter, you can be an artist concierge person, and you can find out those events at artspartners.volunteerhub.com, or you can talk to me after the event. So thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure being here, and I hope to see you all there on Saturday.
Thank you so much. Okay, so our second speaker again is Todd Crawford from River City Labs, and he's going to tell us about Maker Fest.
Wow, thank you so much for inviting me. My name is Todd Crawford. I'm here today to talk about River City Labs, kind of who we are, what we do, and all this talk about this maker space and this Maker Fest that we're hosting inside Peoria Ignite. So a little bit about River City Labs. We're actually located here in Peoria. I think it's 811 East Adams Street down here at the Advanced Building, so not too far from this location. Basically, River City Labs is a group of guys, all ages, male and female, that came together. We're a bunch of do-it-yourselfers, hackers, makers, and warranty voiders alike. And what we do is we're a sharing community, and we're all about open source community. So I have a story to tell about how I got involved with this makerspace community, and it's really blown up across the United States and other parts of the world when you say the word makerspace. But really, it's just a sharing community of really a bunch of nerds like myself and an open source community. So here's a really cool picture that was taken actually by the IBI magazine here in Peoria. They actually wrote a really cool article about our makerspace and the community of how we're trying to share and grow our community base. So that's me in the background. And the reason why I have Jay highlighted, because that's kind of what I call my node. He linked me to the makerspace. He got me involved with a culture that I knew nothing about, that I was interested in. And it was all around this 3D printing that I kept hearing about. I was very, very intrigued about 3D printing. And so I reached out about 2 months later to a guy named Josh Malavolti. I said, Josh, I really want to understand more about 3D printing or additive manufacturing. What can we do? So he said, well, you know what? Let's build one. I'm like, well, that's fantastic. How are we going to do that? So within the open source community, there's actually a company out there called Lulzbot, and they share this open source business model. And you can actually go online and procure and download their STL files. So all the green parts that you see on this 3D printer in the top left-hand corner are actually printed from another printer. So it's kind of the gift that keeps on giving. So we put together a bill of material. We went to Fastenal, we went to Mizumi up in Chicago, we procured all the parts online, and him and I actually validated and built a working, very nice 3D printer. And then we actually shared that with the rest of our community. We actually did a build class. And the only thing we did was collect money to pay for the actual parts. And then we taught the class for free. So not only the kids and adults from all age ranges got to understand 3D printing, but they also got to understand welding, soldering, coding. It's all ran by Marlin. And then validating and just getting the 3D printer up and running. And then my passion just exploded from there. And so I started 3D printing these multi-rotor drones, and so now it kind of expanded on top. So it's hard to see, this lower right-hand corner here is actually a 250 millimeter quadcopter, and you may have seen them on YouTube, but we race them basically. It's kind of like RC cars as a kid, except we elevated that, and they'll do about 50 miles an hour. So the body is actually 3D printed, and we put little GoPro cameras on it, and they're called Fat Sharks, and you put little cameras on it. It's actually like racing a first-person view. It's fantastic sport. California just hosted the first drone nationals last month, and top pilot took home $25,000. So it's kind of like X Games. I mean, I know he was there watching this whole event. It's huge, a lot of sponsorship. So that's kind of a little bit about River City Labs. Just the community is just amazing. It's not only has the community there taught me so much about just sharing the knowledge and understanding different sciences and technologies, but it's actually focused, it's moved towards my current career, my job at Caterpillar. So within that, I'm able to collaborate and share the innovation with the rest of the teams and throughout the entire enterprise. And every time I mention the word makerspace, it just lights up somebody's eyes. They want to know more about it. So again, River City Labs, we're kind of an extension of what's going on with Peoria Ignite, just kind of showcasing the talent that these guys have done with building 3D printers, building drones, whether it's understanding welding. We have access to CNCs, which is an X, Y, and Z axis, where you can actually mill metal parts. We have actually mills, which is basically just a turning drill, and it's all programmed with Linux. So again, if you want to understand how to utilize a CNC and understand coding within Linux, there's guys there that could teach you that. So again, you just kind of put yourself in that culture, that library of the makerspace here at River City Labs, and sky's the limit, just depending on what project you want to learn. Again, the event's August 8th. It's at Peoria Civic Center. I think we're right around, I want to say 50,000 square feet. It's a very, very large area. And within that, we have several sponsors, anywhere from Caterpillar to Probiotics. There is a Maker Juice. They actually, it's kind of cut off here. They make filaments, so it's an additive product that goes inside of a 3D printer, which extrudes out to make parts. You kind of saw at the video at the end, River City Labs was actually in Ignite last year, but we didn't do a Maker Fest. We just kind of talked about River City Labs. So you actually get to see a working live robotic R2-D2 that was built by Andrew Radovich. He's traveled all across the world showcasing an R2-D2. I know he's friends with Adam Savage. Adam Savage is part of Mythbusters. He's a maker at heart. If you ever get a chance, go on Google and look at his makerspace. It's phenomenal. It's like a guy's shop on steroids. It's fantastic. But again, we're going to showcase a lot about 3D printing and sciences. We'll have some welding tables set up. I know there's a drone obstacle course they're setting up, kind of like these cheap little micro drones are setting up, and it's all netted and safe. And what you do is you just kind of fly them through a small PVC obstacle. But that's kind of River City Labs, what we do, what we're trying to share, the culture and grow, and what we're trying to do within the Maker Fest. Yeah, that kind of sums it up. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Going back to the drone racing.
Yes.
Where are those being held?
Okay, so
where are those held?
So I recently.
And are they open to the public?
They are open to public. So my job right now is I'm trying to grow the culture here actually in Peoria, Illinois. There's another gentleman who actually is one of our sponsors, Lynn Probiotics. He's really excited about this technology. He actually is going to buy some property out, I think, towards Pekin, and we're going to turn it into a drone obstacle racing course. With that said, I've actually reached out to another gentleman named Greg Driver. He owns and operates, it's called FPV Tree Racers, and he's developed a start-finish program. He's a code writer. He utilizes Python, and so the transmitters that we use are open source, so you can actually hack those too. Well, he actually has a huge community up in Chicago, and he builds these start-finish courses. And he actually was going to come down and speak to the event, but I contacted him at the wrong time. But anyways, it is here in Peoria, and that's what I'm trying to do, is grow this FPV racing community. And if you haven't seen it on YouTube, all you need to do is Google it, FPV Racers on YouTube, and you can see it. It's quite fascinating. It's you can buy them ready to fly, or you can build them yourself. And it took me probably a month to work out the kinks. It's kind of hard to tell, but the little tiny flight board is on there. There's an accelerometer on there. There's a magnetometer on there. There's a barometer on there. There's all these little tiny sensors that have gone from this big to like smaller than my pinky. I mean, GPS is now about as smaller than my pinky nail. And it's really cheap. So something like this to 3D print without the transmitter and the goggles, you're talking $100, $150. So it's very inexpensive. So, yes.
Would there be the opportunity for those races to have actually an audience? To have them just like a ballpark?
Sure, yeah. It's growing as far as the audience. So the Drone Nationals in California is actually at the California State Fairgrounds. And it was a very low audience, but there's actually more participants and pilots and sponsors than there was the actual audience. But I foresee it will grow. Again, I think it's another extension of what the X Games did many, many years ago. So, yes, sir.
What's the future of River City in the coming years?
So I guess I'll put my officer hat on. I'm just a member, but I foresee this is just a growing community, and us to continue to collaborate and reach out, develop media packs. You know, there's your day job, and this is what we do outside of it. It's a very hard balance. I know the guys work extremely hard to keep the momentum going, and it's guys like me that have the passion, the drive, and the time to come here today and tell you guys about it, because it's literally changed my life. It's actually taught me how to get out of my comfort zone a little bit and ask the right questions and build stuff that I never thought I could build. I mean, I never knew I could actually build and validate a 3D printer. I mean, and when I tell people about it, they're just really fascinated. So it is, to her point earlier, if you may not even know you're good at something until you actually try it. And then that's where kind of the passion starts to build inside of you, and then you just share it with the rest of the community. So that's kind of what we're trying to do. And over a year time span, we went from 8 members to 50. We outgrew our space. Then we moved from 825 to 811. We really wanted to stay down here in downtown Peoria and help grow this community down here along with the arts. So, yes, sir.
What's your membership model?
So the membership model, there's what you call a starving membership fee, which is $20. And the only thing you really don't get is a key. And the key just gives you, of course, access to the space. And within the space, you just get access to the tools and the machines. And of course, before you could even get on a machine, there's a safety training program that's ran and operated by Joe Spanier, Tim Smith. He's our machine operator. So there's a starving member fee, there's a full membership fee, which is $35 a month, or you can pay that annually and you get, I think it's 10% off. Or you can be what they call an angel investor, and that angel investor is X amount of dollars. I'm not sure what the exact amount is. It's a little bit more, but you actually get a space. You actually get a locker and a very nice bench, and it's yours. You just leave your stuff there. Some guys still leave their stuff there, but an angel investor is kind of somebody who's looking to help extend and grow our community much faster with the angel investment. So it's a pretty simple business model, really. Yeah. Yes.
Maybe you don't know the answer to this, but what do you think it's going to take to make your 50-person thing into a full-blown warehouse?
Man, just these events. I mean, come to Ignite. Come see what we do. We don't charge anything. All we want to do is share. We're just a non-for-profit, and that's how we're able to stay profitable, is by our membership fees. And then as we grow, and then there's folks that are very generous that donate the CNC machines, and then as we acquire the membership fees, we do have a savings, and then we'll go out and buy a laser cutter, for instance. But I would say just continue to come to these events, help support us, and then help spread the word to your kids throughout Peoria. So, yes, sir.
What are some other things that are built other than the drones?
Oh, so we have a fantastic gentleman in our group. His name's Ryan Branch. He's very interested in LEDs, and so he actually built this LED light table, and he utilized Python to program addressable LEDs. So I know there's welding classes that we teach. Let's see what else has been built here recently. Oh, a clay extruded 3D printer. So instead of plastic ABS, Jay Babin actually built a clay extruded 3D printer. It's actually a Delta printer. It stands about 4 foot tall. You'll actually see that at the Midwest Maker Fest. Those are some of the quick projects that I know off the top of my head. So, yes, sir.
What do you think about the viability of taking this drone technology for personal transport? I think I saw somebody that pulled it off on YouTube, but you can't tell if it's real or not. Are we even close to that level of technology yet?
As far as payload capacity?
Yeah.
So currently, no. Depending on how big you want to make it, maybe. So I had the opportunity to attend an event down in Atlanta. It's called AUVSI. It's one of the world's largest unmanned aerial systems conventions, and military makes this stuff. So maybe to answer your question, yes. But what we do know. But I do know, according to Moore's law, it's exponential. So as technology gets cheaper, things get more powerful. It's just like our CPUs. So it could be a mode of transportation one day, but then how are you going to justify the sound, the thrust, and all the other things that the drones create? Because these little FPV racers, they're quite powerful and they are quite loud. So yeah, and that's why unfortunately they've been banned from national parks, because they scare wildlife. But anyways, so yes, sir.
Are you aware of Rob Martin and the open source classroom in Bloomington?
No, sir, I'm not.
Oh, you should definitely get networked with him.
Okay.
His whole company is building 3D printers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
See, exactly. That's to your point earlier. This is how this culture is developed. Is again sharing this right now, like we just did. So thank you. Yes, ma'am. Any other questions? Yes.
I don't have a question. I just have a statement.
Sure.
I'm just listening to you, and I think it's absolutely awesome. But I'm thinking, I'm an educator.
Sure.
And I'm just thinking, how can you get this type of information into the minds and creativity of the young people, like in the schools or the educational institutions? Maybe you go as a speaker and just tell them what you're doing.
I love that idea. And I'm originally from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I have a 14-year-old nephew that I've really been trying to just get him involved in this stuff. And so I've actually reached out to Ritter High School a couple times to come out and speak. I would love to speak at Dunlap to Peoria schools about even bring in the actual 3D printer and show the kids. There's other 3D printers that are out there that are much simpler. PrinterBot actually developed one, and it's actually utilizes PLA, and PLA, for you folks who don't know, it extrudes out hot, but it's on a cool bed. So yeah, there is one hot touch point, but kids at age 8 years old and can use this, and I know they have an educational program that you could save up like X amount of points to acquire one of their printers. But no, to your point, I would love for RCL to come out and educate and talk about what we do and grow our community with you also.
Maybe they have a career day or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Boys and girls.
Sure.
Just to kind of enlighten them. Because there's so many kids that have brilliant minds. They just don't know how to channel that thinking.
Or ask the right questions, or have that mentor to help them develop it. Yeah, exactly.
You were just great.
Yes. You were just great, man.
I try. I'm winging this. I just delegated this last night, by the way, at 9 late last night. So anyways.
Well, we appreciate you being here.
It's awesome. I'm really very, very honored to be here.
On Doris's note, do you guys interact with the robotics
So we do.
teams locally?
Actually, it's a great question, because we actually found out about the robotics club here in Peoria, and we've actually challenged them to do a robotic challenge. Do you guys ever watch BattleBots?
Yes.
God, that was awesome, wasn't it? I was really rooting for Tombstone, but I mean, what was the guy that actually won? He beat Bronco. I was blown away. Anyways, so to your point, yes, and we want to continue to grow that. And I've actually asked a couple guys if they'd be willing to do like a Peoria BattleBots, whether it's on the ground or actually in the air. There actually is a drone battle showcase too that I saw online recently what the kids were doing. So, yeah.
Sounds scary.
It's all netted though, so it's safe. Any other?
What could possibly go wrong?
Just a lithium battery maybe explodes, you know.
I just saw that a drone dropped drugs over.
Yeah, I saw that article this morning. So this is my comment to them. So my job is to educate the goodness of drones. And I'm kind of lucky. I actually do this full time for Caterpillar too. So I study and research and develop unmanned systems in general. But my whole point is you can do bad things with 3D printers. I mean, there's guys that build guns, and you can do bad things with drones. But my job is to just educate the people of the goodness that this stuff can do. And what we're trying to get to is potentially do parts delivery to remote locations utilizing this technology that normally can't get it, but not just parts, but it could be medicines. And just so you know that the United States did their first fully autonomous medical supply delivery, and it was approved by the FAA. So we're moving much faster. We're not as fast as Europe right now. We're also working within beyond line of sight. So we do have folks that are engaged with the FAA or writing regulations and specifications that we will eventually get into beyond line of sight unmanned aerial system technologies, which will then we can deploy stuff out and maybe be more proactive with the California fires, with power outages and so forth, and send the right crew at the right time, to the right location without wasting a bunch of time and resources. So, yes, sir.
Do you get into programming for these to control them, like with waypoints?
Yes, actually,
phones and
you can. These are you can with these models. These are what I call full manual mode, and that's the tricky part. So the way I explain it, it's kind of like, we know forward, we know reverse, and we know left and right. But you turn it around, everything's backwards. So left and right is now reversed and so forth. So if you flip it upside down, your orientation is completely reversed. So when you're actually flying these machines, there's 3 different flight modes. And when you do full rate mode, you're in full control, and that's when you need full focus on your sticks and whatever orientation that the machine is flying. But there's so much thrust in these machines, you can elevate it pretty fast, or flip a switch. And that's the beauty of these machines. They have an accelerometer, just like our iPhones and our smartphones. It'll recognize its orientation and level itself automatically within seconds. So, yes, sir.
I actually was privileged to fly my first drone, I would say maybe 10 days ago. And the biggest bottleneck I saw with like 30 minutes to 40 minutes of charging the battery, using it was like 8 to 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a huge bottleneck, and I'm curious if you know anything about.
So yeah, that's a huge constraint currently, is battery life, especially within this area right now. Like, I only get 4 minutes of flight time. I mean, the power is, for the first couple minutes, is amazing. I think battery life is getting better. There are other technologies out there, however. There is combustible engines that are being developed with this technology. And there's also a company called Sci-Fi Works located in California, and it's a Helen Grenier. She actually started the company iRobot. It went public, and then she sold off her part, and she developed a company called Sci-Fi Works. Sci-Fi Works actually developed a tethered technology, and it utilizes power and data download, so you can fly it indefinitely. And I actually had a chance to visit her, work with her team, and see her models actually in operation, and they do military type work. And actually they were there for DARPA's Robot Challenge. If any of you followed the Robot Challenge that DARPA put on, they actually just flew their drones for days and recorded everything in 4K. So, yeah.
So is that how you could deliver medical supplies?
Not necessarily tethering, but you know, again, whether you're using gliders, like Google X is utilizing a rechargeable battery. It's actually, instead of using your typical 3S, 4S batteries, their batteries are actually built inside the wings, and they're solared and then repowered, so it's like having a generator on your machine. So the Google X machine they tested over in Australia will fly up to 400 miles fully autonomous. So I think it just depends on the team. And again, it's just my outlook on Moore's Law. It's going to get better. We're going to see charging go into kind of how we're seeing our iPhones and our iWatches charge today. But I foresee this these charging stations where you kind of just walk into a room and your smart device recognizes that it's in some kind of charging station and it's recharged. So, yeah, yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes. 21 minutes.
What can people in this room do to help River City Labs have
Man, I'll tell you what, we have a website, I believe it's rivercitylabs.org. Again, we are a not-for-profit. We do support 501c. Come to Ignite. Come see us at MakerFest. And then with that said, I believe it's once a month. It's on our website, rivercitylabs.org. We host a public night. And again, it's at 811 East Adams Street. Come out, see our shop, see our guys, talk to the guys one-on-one, understand kind of what they're doing. Bring your kids, bring your family, bring your wife, and just understand more about what we do. And we'll be willing to share that. We're very happy to. So thank you very much.
Great.
Yep.